Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has hailed the addition of a new pillar in the Australia-US alliance. He and US President Joe Biden signed an agreement to work together on the clean energy transformation during a meeting on the sidelines of the G7 summit. It wasn't the only important international partnership boosted in what was a historic day in Hiroshima.
A summit within a summit.
Okay. Thank you.
The four Quad leaders held talks in Hiroshima after their Sydney session was scrapped. Indo-Pacific issues are deemed too pressing to put off.
We are indeed an outcomes-focused grouping that can get things done and can be flexible to make sure that we achieve these outcomes. It's an example of our resolve.
There was an earlier apology from the man responsible for the rescheduling as the United States-Australia alliance strengthened with a statement of intent around the so-called clean energy transformation.
We're going to establish climate and clean energy as a third pillar of the Australia-US alliance.
Because climate action, of course, is a national security issue.
The Prime Minister has been pressed to squeeze in as much FaceTime as possible with the leaders of the world's most influential nations, including perhaps this late arrival. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in Hiroshima after issuing this frank call to leaders at the Arab League summit.
Unfortunately, there are some in the world and here among you who turn a blind eye to those cages and illegal annexations.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine has dominated G7 discussions. Australia joined member nations in expanding sanctions on Moscow, while the US has approved other nations to give F-16 jets to Kiev.
We will work with our allies to determine when planes will be delivered, who will be delivering them, and how many.
China's perceived economic coercion, as well as its military buildup and threats towards Taiwan, have been in focus. In a joint communique, the G7 members called on nations to rely less on the world's second-largest economy, saying a growing China that plays by the international rules would be of global interest. Nations also pledged to achieve net zero emissions on roads by 2050, though that's largely been overshadowed by efforts to end a war in a city familiar with its devastating impacts. Brent O'Halloran, Sky News.